So hello guys. Hello guys, what's up and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's me, your girl barrister Neze, and this is Nezeville. Guys, we have two stories that we're gonna discuss today. But first and foremost, who is feeling this? Who is feeling this? I decided to come on here looking like the Newai that I am. It is not every time monostrap and spaghetti and macaroni top. Sometimes you have to dress like the mama madu that you are, the rich African auntie that you are. You know my plug. If you're in Canada, America, you just want to look different. You want to stand out. You want to look like that African lady that you are. You want to show off your uniqueness at that party, that church service, that outing, that mall shopping, even at the office, wherever you are. You want to show how dynamic you are with your dressing. She's your best plug. Reach out to her and pick up your piece so you can look beautiful and radiant, just as I am looking. So welcome back to the channel, guys. Without further ado, let us dive right into this video. First, we're going to be discussing the story of Nigerian nurse Ruth Auta, the tragedy that happened and the outcome of that incident. 28-year-old Ruth is a single mother, resident in England. She is a nurse and she worked at the Royal Bolton Hospital there in the UK. In October of 2022, she welcomed a son whom she named Joshua Akerele. 10 weeks after Joshua was born, Ruth decided that it was time to go back to work. Oh, you must assume that maybe her mother was on ground to watch over the baby. No. Or maybe she has made some arrangements with a daycare or a day home where she would keep the baby while she goes to work. No. Well, then maybe she would hire the services of a childminder who would come and stay at home and keep an eye on the baby, care for him while she's away at work. Well, no. Ruth's plan for her 10-week-old baby while she's away at work was to leave him all alone at the house while she worked an 8-hour shift. So on the 20th of December 2022, Ruth left her 2-month-old son alone at home while she went to the Royal Bolton Hospital and picked an 8-hour shift. When you add the time of transportation, commuting back and forth, signing in and signing out and all of that, it is assumed that she was away from the house for at least 9 hours. After working, Ruth returned home to find poor little Joshua lifeless in his cots. She dialed 999, reporting that her son was not breathing. Ambulance, paramedics, and all of the team rushed immediately to Ruth's house, and they did everything humanly possible to resuscitate the little boy. But after exhausting every hack in the book to no avail, Joshua was pronounced dead 1 hour later. Ruth was invited by the police to give account of what had happened. Joshua was a very healthy baby with no congenital defects, no medical conditions, no history of any problems. During interrogation, Ruth had disclosed to the police that she had picked up her son, Joshua, from the childminder when she got back from work, and then she took him home, she fed him, and then she laid him beside her on the bed and she fell asleep. She claimed that when she woke up, she found him unresponsive. After the police questioning and interrogations, Ruth reached out to the childminder immediately, sending her messages pleading with her to accept that she was with the baby throughout the day. Of course, there was no way she could have claimed that she didn't go to work. The evidence, the record at the office showed clearly that she was at work for 8 hours. So her only option was to reach out to the childminder, pleading with her that she should please accept that the baby was with her throughout that day. Come to think of it, this shows that she actually had a place where she had kept Joshua in the past. There was a childminder in existence. So why didn't she drop the poor little baby at the childminders before she went to work that day? Possibly she may have weighed the cost of that service vis-a-vis the money that she was going to earn from that shift, and maybe it didn't make financial sense to her, and she felt cutting corners by leaving a newborn baby alone for almost 9 hours without water, without food, without care was the best bet for her. Well, as expected, when the police contacted the childminder, oh my God, who wants to go to prison for another person's mistake? Who won't enter gbese on top of another person's carelessness? The childminder raised her 2 hands up and said, please, this child was not with me. He wasn't kept with me on that day. I haven't seen him for days prior to that event. The police also found incriminating text messages that Ruth had sent to the childminder, urging her to please claim that the baby was in her possession. And so the police pressed further with its investigation. It reviewed the CCTV at the apartment where Ruth lived, and to their utmost shock and dismay, they found that Ruth left the house without Joshua and returned back later, more than 8 hours after, without him. Then it became clear what she had done. Saying that the game was over and that she was busted, she immediately booked the flight to escape back to Nigeria, a one-way ticket. But of course, a red alert had already been placed on her. So as soon as she stepped into the airport, trying to escape, the authorities were alerted. She was apprehended at the airport and taken into custody. She was subsequently charged to court for the offense of cruelty to a child. She pleaded guilty to the charges, and a few days ago, she was sentenced to 3 years imprisonment. During her sentencing, the district crown prosecutor said these very heavy words. While she went to work to provide care for other people, Ruth left the very person who needed her care the most home alone. As a nurse, she should have known the dangers of leaving the baby unattended. As she begins her sentence, she must now live with the consequences of the terrible decision that she had made that day. Ruth failed to show remorse throughout the case. She misled the police about her child care arrangements and then tried to evade justice by attempting to flee the country. Our thoughts and sympathies are with all those who have been affected by Joshua's death. Although experts could not confirm the exact cause of Joshua's death, it is believed that he overheated due to the layers of beddings that she had covered him with before she left. One life lost and another scarred for life. Scarred because for the rest of her life, this lady would have to deal with the guilt that would never go away, that she caused the death of her child. She would have to deal with the pain and the inconvenience of incarceration. She has to deal with the public shame, ridicule, and damage to reputation because her face, her pictures are plastered everywhere in both local and international news. And again, she has to deal with deportation because immediately after she finished serving her sentence, she is going to be deported back to Nigeria. So it is an all-round misfortune. When this news got out, people were divided on how they felt about how this matter was handled. Some people felt that the UK authorities did not handle this matter fairly, with equity, with fairness, with justice. This set of people argued that this was a single mother carrying the burden of work and home all alone. No help, no assistance, and the bills were piling. Who knows how long she had worked before she had the baby? Who knows whether she was entitled to maternity benefits? Low on money to feed, low on money for rent, low on money to care for the baby. She was stranded. She had to do what she had to do. She acted in desperation and frustration, especially being in that environment abroad where there is no assistance, no help, and to make matters worse, she's a single mother, no spouse to even stand in the gap. They believed that that incident had already damaged and shattered her, and there was no need to knock a woman who was already on the ground further down. They even brought in the mental health card in their argument. These set of people contended that this is a new mother. What if she was dealing with postpartum depression? What if she was having postpartum mental challenges? What if she was depressed? They contended very seriously that imprisonment was not the best option for Ruth, that what she needed was help and support.
She was stranded. Let's not also forget the bills, the huge responsibilities and bills that are, beholding on anyone who's an immigrant.
Exactly. To take care of these
also looking at the fact that she was also trying to meet up with the financial, obligations
it's not
and
an
challenges.
Excuse, but is it true?
It's not an excuse, yes, because you don't know what she could have got. She might have even had hospital bills piling up that she needed to sort out, because considering the fact that that baby is so young, she may not have cleared her bills and she still wanted to do that. It's not taken away from the fact that, what happened. It's a very, very sad and unfortunate event.
I look at that.
And we commensurate with her and, and the family, but it's a very serious issue. I think she should have been taken to a facility where her mental health is being
evaluated.
Taken care of.
I'm actually questioning this sentencing because I'm wondering if her mental health was evaluated. I looked at the photo of the lady and I said to myself, this lady looks stressed.
She looks stressed.
She looks like, okay,
she looks like, yes.
Just let
she
me
looks like she had given up. Yeah.
Yes.
It
was heartbreaking.
Yeah,
But not everybody agreed with this set of people. On the other side of the divide, this set of people disagreed very strongly. They were like, she caused the deaths of another innocent person, and she must be held accountable for her actions. Leaving a 10-week-old baby fresh from the womb alone for almost 9 hours for money, new babies that eat every hour, eat every 30 minutes. What excruciating torture this little kid would have gone through before he died. Cried himself to sleep and wake up, cried himself out of his mind, poured on himself weed, starved, burning under the layers of blankets. That child died a slow and very painful death, left alone without care, while she went out caring for other people. To these other set of people, Ruth is heartless, does not even deserve to be called a mother, and she deserves the punishment that she got. What do you think about these two set of arguments? Do you really think that the judge should have tampered justice with mercy? That is not as if she abandoned her baby to go for a party or for a social function. She went to look for money to care for them. Do you believe that at 3 years imprisonment, she got exactly what she deserved? Or are you of another school of thought who believe that the punishment is not even commensurate with her acts, that she should have been given a longer sentence? Do drop your thoughts down in the comment section. To wrap up this video, I would like to just do a quick update on a story that we covered a few videos ago. The story of the Ugandan Olympic marathon superstar, Rebecca Cheptegei. Recall that this superstar mom of two, who participated at the recently concluded Olympic Games in Paris, was attacked and set ablaze by her ex-boyfriend Dixon, who waylaid her on her way back from church, emptied a gallon of gasoline on her, and struck a match right in the presence of her two daughters, who watched her burn. Rebecca sustained 4th-degree burns to over 80% of her body. She was at the intensive care unit of the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital, but her case was too critical. There was very little the doctors could do. 4 days after this incident, Rebecca passed. I also reported to you guys that in the course of setting Rebecca ablaze, Dixon also sustained injuries to himself. He sustained burns to more than 40% of his body. He was in the hospital receiving treatment too, and boy oh boy, we were hoping for quick recovery so that he could come out and face the music of the Lord. But fate had other plans, I guess. Some call it better plans. Dixon developed respiratory failure as a result of the severe airway burns. He also came down with very severe sepsis. He did not make any recovery. A few days ago, he died also. This story, although very heartbreaking, is a clear example of karma and instant justice. It's an ideal example of that slogan, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. One of the many subjects that interest me are stories and documentaries about criminals. In fact, I have a very good feeling that if I were to go back to active law practice, I would face criminal law. I find myself curious to understand what really goes on in the minds and the head of a criminal. And this my interest has brought me to reading and knowing about several world record criminals. One of which I recently delved into is Jeffrey Dahmer, the notorious serial killer who killed at least 17 men, injecting water into the brain of one of them who was just 14, even going as far as having sexual intercourse with them posthumous. When Jeffrey was caught and sentenced, he died just a similar death that he caused other people. He was murdered in the same vile and gruesome way that he murdered other people. I also recently researched the story of Miranda, the Miranda versus Arizona case. I'm sure some of you have heard about the Miranda rights. It was a case that brought about those rights that have now made it mandatory that at arrest or before questioning, the police must read out certain rights to a suspect, that they are not obliged to say anything they say or do can be used against them in court, that they have a right to legal counsel, they have a right not to make a statement except in the presence of the legal counsel. You know, the Miranda rights, yeah, it came from the Miranda case where a rapist, a notorious rapist, kidnapped and raped an 18-year-old girl. He was sentenced, but the sentence was appealed at the US Supreme Court. His counsel claimed that his confessional statement, which was the basis upon which that conviction was reached, was obtained without the presence of a legal counsel. He wrote that confessional statement without the presence of his lawyer. So the Supreme Court overturned that conviction and directed the lower courts to reconstitute a trial. Well, they retried him again and still convicted him, and he got 20 to 30 years, but he was released on parole after 5 years. When he got out, he was brutally stabbed and murdered at a bar in the same violent way that he had lived his life. And just so many other stories like that. I don't want to drag this video further by recounting all of these stories that I have acquainted myself with. It is not uncommon that people that lead these kinds of lives mostly end up in exact same fashion. We all should be very careful of the kinds of life that we live, because sometimes the judgment does not wait for Judgment Day. Sometimes you might get your instant judgment even on earth. While some people have hoped that he got the chance to repent and ask God for forgiveness, others hope not, praying that he rots in hell. Do drop your thoughts on this update, as well as what you think about our first story, the nurse Ruth. Drop all your comments down in the comment section. So guys, yes, we have come to the end of today's video. If you're new here, you're seeing my face for the first time, or if you've been watching without subscribing, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, give this video a big thumbs up, drop all your comments down in the comment section, and stay glued, for we have so much more coming your way. Don't also forget to shop Regal and Radiant so you can look as beautiful and radiant as I am looking. Very affordable, very classy, very unique. It's me, your girl barrister Neze, and this is Nezeville. I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye.